you're describing here is legit.
I'm not saying
No,
you
you've got to
shouldn't
let
get
me
help.
finish one sentence, Anna.
You say you're not condescending.
No, I'm really not. I'm just asking you to let me finish one sentence because you can't hear
Go
what
on
I'm
then.
saying if you're talking. Whatever they did, the feelings you're describing would still exist. There's nothing that can be done differently.
This has to be one of the most unbelievable political conversations I've heard in a long time. It starts off sounding like an ordinary phone call, but within minutes it turns into a perfect example of everything that's gone wrong with public debate in Britain today. By the time it's over, you'll probably be asking yourself how so many people ended up believing stories that simply don't stand up to scrutiny. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Now let's get straight into it. Because this conversation takes a turn almost immediately, and what unfolds isn't just an argument about asylum seekers. It's a fascinating look at how frustration, misinformation, and real economic hardship can collide, creating a political mess that leaves almost everyone angry while solving absolutely nothing. Let's see how it all unfolds.
Anna is in Middlesbrough. Anna, what would you like to say?
So first, before I say it, firstly, I'd like to say that I do agree with probably 99% of your politics.
Of course.
But I do find sometimes that you're quite condescending.
Oh, I'm sure I
and
am.
think that people are thick and come to these conclusions just because, like, they read and hear things.
What else happens, do you think?
So I come from quite a low-class area, and it is an area where a lot of asylum seekers and refugees get put. My dad's a 70-odd-year-old ex-scaffolder. In fact, he was only finished scaffolding 67 years ago. A few years ago at 67. He was scaffolding up until the age of 67.
Yeah.
He's now on a pension. He can barely afford to eat or put his heating on, living hand to mouth. And we live in an area where it started off with one family, because it's a working class area, but it's a nice area in a working class area. So it's quite sought after accommodation. And they were from Syria. They were put there because they were chased out of another area. The people in where my dad lives welcomed this family. And actually, my dad stood guard on this house one night when some racists were trying to get at them. But since then, quite a lot of their extended families have been moved into the area. We've seen, like, my dad sees them, they've all got nice cars, nice clothes, mobile phones. And it does get my dad upset when he can barely afford to, get a week's shopping in.
Yes. And does he believe that they've been given their cars and their phones by the government or something like that?
Well, we do know that they do all get a hand up to get started. Now, they are grafters, I'm not taking anything away from them because I actually agree that we do need to help people. So they're working? But some of them are, yeah. The males in the family are. The women, obviously, they aren't allowed. Yeah.
So what exactly, so they're working, you said they're grafters, so they're working very hard and they've got a nice car. What is your dad cross about?
No, it's not. It's because of the area we live, and it's like, obviously, whenever like any of the council houses has become available, it's been given to an asylum seeking family. Yeah. And obviously, I know people that work in the local council. I think
it would be someone who's
get their furniture and everything provided. They do get a very big hand up to start.
Yes. They don't. They don't. Well, how big is it, Anna?
Well, they get the houses furnished. They do get provided cars and things like that.
They don't get provided with cars, Anna.
They have done.
They don't.
From what I've seen.
But the thing is now, I have to say, where did you hear that? And you say that I'm condescending because people believe this stuff independently of having been told it by people who aren't telling them the truth, you see. I don't want to be condescending, and I understand why you use that word, but where did you hear that the asylum seekers are given free cars?
I'm not saying all asylum seekers
but
are
any,
free
where
cars.
Did you hear it?
I've got friends that work in the local council that work a part of these, and it's again.
What sorts of cars do they get?
I'm not. I don't know. That's like precisely for every single one. What I'm saying is...
Well, I heard what you're saying.
the
Everyone can
area
hear
I
what
live
you're.
in-
Everyone can hear what you're saying, Anna.
the area I live in,
Yeah.
and it's always the asylum seekers are always put in lower class, underprivileged areas, and the reason people get annoyed,
Yes.
and whether it's right or wrong, well, it is wrong, but it's not because of necessarily that they're getting, it's because they're struggling as well.
What
and
would
not
your
getting
dad
help.
feel? What would they feel like if they were put in smarter areas than where you live, where your dad lives?
Well, our area wouldn't see them, would we? I mean, I'm
No,
not
but
being
if
funny,
you-
James.
you-
How many council estates have you lived on?
Well, 2, but a long time ago, and it doesn't really mean anything in the greater scheme of things because the
Well,
daily.
it does, and look, like, when they're
Well, let me tell you
struggling to
why.
live anywhere,
But
they're
Anna, the
struggling to
stories.
get house.
Okay, the stories
When
that.
they're struggling to get
Okay, you
house.
carry on, and then I'll have a go.
But this is true, though, because I mean,
Is it as
I've
true
seen
as the
that-
free cars?
You know, you can take the mick out of that all you
I'm
want
not
to,
taking
but
the
I know
mick
for
out
a
of it
fact-
because you'll call me
I know for a
condescending.
fact that-
You've believed something that's not true, Anna,
But
and
I
I don't know how I can help you. But let's focus on the housing bit because if they were put in Mayfair or Belgravia, or if let's just say they were put in an area where your dad can't afford to live, then that would be the thing that they were getting cross about as well.
But
Unless they
but
actually
you-
object
but
to
you're-
the proximity.
You're wondering, no, it's not a case of the proximity.
What is
it's
it
when
then?
they can't get the houses that are available.
But who can't get? Your
That's
dad's
what I'm
got a
on
house.
about. I'm on about this. I know that because there's your people in the area.
Yes.
Well, I'll take for instance. Then my sister recently, she was private renting. The renter wanted the house back. My sister was trying to get a house, and she couldn't get a house for love nor money.
Yes. So
she's
where is she now?
private renting again. She's having to private rent again.
Well,
But she was, and she has.
She got
has
a house
2
then.
children. Yeah, but eventually, and again. it
What's
was
the
like-
99% of my politics you agree with, Anna? Just out of interest.
Because I'm not saying that we shouldn't be helping. What I'm saying is the
You don't-
reason
they
people are
shouldn't be-
getting angry.
They shouldn't. Well, I
I'm
don't.
not-
But you're getting angry
I'm
about
not-
free cars that don't exist and about people
No,
being housed in
well-
the poorest parts of town. Whereas
I
if
said
they
I've
were being
seen
put,
that, and I'm not getting angry. I'm trying to explain why people are angry. and
but
why
they're
they get
angry about things that
frustrated.
aren't real.
But that is real, though, James.
But-
You're saying that isn't real
Okay.
about the housing. It's true.
No, but your sister's got a house. And if they put them in areas, if they put them in smarter parts of, if they put them in smarter parts of town,
But when people
then people
can't
would
get
be even
houses,
angrier.
I understand why they would get upset when.
of course I can. If there were homeless people who could afford to pay rent and couldn't get a house that was being given, and also I don't think asylum seekers get houses. You'd have to have had your application actually fully processed at that point, where you become an actual refugee. You are a successful applicant for asylum. And listen, I do understand.
Well, this I disagree because I know for a fact.
I do understand. Well,
they
you knew
get
for a fact they
out.
were getting free cars a minute ago. I mean, we can't keep going round in circles.
Right, again, I didn't say. I said I've seen it and I've been told. I didn't
Yeah.
say I knew for a fact.
And then
But
when
about the
I
house,
say that
did know
that's
for
not
a
true,
fact.
you call me condescending.
Actually, I said I find it quite condescending at times, James.
Yes.
I said I agree with what you
I don't know
do
how to
find it
help,
quite
you see, because
condescending at times.
people believe things that aren't true, that encourage them to harbour negative thoughts and feelings towards refugees. And when I point out that the things aren't true, you think I'm condescending. I don't know what to do with those 3 facts, Anna. I really don't. I've got no beef with you, and your dad sounds like a lovely bloke. He really does stand in guard outside the house. But the feelings of the people that wanted to attack the house are the feelings that you're describing.
But that's again, you've completely turned everything I've said
I
around.
haven't. I've just repeated it
You
back
have.
to you.
No, you haven't at all. I'm saying the reason why people do get upset at times, and I've said that we do need help. It's not an easy answer, but this is really happening in a lot of working class
But it isn't,
estates
you see. The
across
free
country.
cars, it's not really happening.
But you keep going back to that, and I've said,
Because
right,
that's the
okay,
most
fair
inflammatory
enough,
thing that you
that's-
said. And I think it was in a British National Party manifesto in 2011.
But I'm only saying from people.
It was a
that
lie then, and
who've
it's a lie
worked within
now.
The council, okay, fair enough. Then we'll call that a lie. But when we come to a housing situation, that's not a lie.
Well, no, of course it's not a lie, but everybody needs somewhere to live. And if they were putting the people that we're talking about in
I know, but can you?
You
but
can't
what I'm
keep-
saying is, this is why people get upset.
Yes, but they'd be even more upset if they were being put in smarter parts of town. This is why it's such a reductive argument, is that they put the asylum seekers in the cheapest property available. Now, your argument is, but there are some people who were born here who want the cheapest property available as well. I've got no beef with that, but if they put them somewhere else...
Not wanting it.
Okay.
Not a case of I want that house. I need a house.
Yes,
I need
but if they
houses
put
as
the
well.
asylum seekers or the refugees who are often fleeing torture and persecution and living on £5.83 a day, if they put them somewhere else, somewhere smarter, then people in the part of town you're talking about would be absolutely livid, and the Sun would have it on their front page. You remember the stories about a single mother from Syria with 8 children and a mansion in Maida Vale? So whatever happens, unless you give these people no help at all, whatever happens, what you're describing here is legit.
I'm not saying
No,
they
you've got to
shouldn't
let
get
me
help.
finish one sentence, Anna.
You say you're not condescending.
No, I'm really not. I'm just asking you to let me finish one sentence because you can't hear
Go
what
on
I'm
then.
saying if you're talking. Whatever they did, the feelings you're describing would still exist. There's nothing that can be done differently.
This call begins exactly the way so many uncomfortable political conversations in Britain do. Anna opens by saying she agrees with 99% of your politics, and if you've listened to enough of these debates, you already know what comes next. That's usually the warning sign that things are about to go completely off the rails. But here's the interesting part. Anna doesn't come across as someone motivated by hatred or resentment. In fact, quite the opposite. She talks about her father, a man who worked as a scaffolder until he was 67, who now struggles to pay for heating and everyday essentials. This is also the same man who once stood outside a Syrian refugee family's home to protect them from racist attacks. By every account, he sounds like a genuinely decent person. So how does someone like that end up believing asylum seekers are being handed free cars? That's the question at the heart of this entire conversation. As James O'Brien starts digging deeper, it quickly becomes clear that Anna isn't inventing these claims herself. She genuinely believes them because she's been told they're true by people she trusts. And that's what makes this exchange so revealing. It shows how easily misinformation can spread when it plays into people's frustrations and financial struggles. To O'Brien's credit, he doesn't simply dismiss her concerns. He repeatedly asks for evidence, separates verified facts from rumors, and tries to explain why those stories don't hold up. It's not an easy balance to strike, especially when someone feels their lived experience is being challenged. In many ways, this conversation sums up modern British politics. You have ordinary people facing real economic hardship, rising living costs, and genuine anxiety about the future. Instead of those problems being addressed, the debate often gets redirected toward claims that simply aren't supported by evidence, leaving everyone frustrated while the underlying issues remain exactly the same. By the end of the call, neither side really feels satisfied. Anna leaves believing James was talking down to her, while James is left wondering how you convince people to let go of claims they've accepted as fact. And meanwhile, the bigger problems that started the conversation are still there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think James handled this call fairly, or could he have approached it differently?